98, I was approached by 2 private equity firms, started the business with $8,000, and now all of a sudden...
You sold it with a few more zeros.
Exactly. So everything that we buy and we do has to have a story. When we got this hold of the 3 sites, we bought this on a pricing that was reflective of a low density site, and all of a sudden it went up. Every acquisition has a different story. You build a different business plan for it. You have a different capital structure around it, a lot of creativity. It really gets you excited. I really believe that today we are entering a period that it's not going to be as intense, but it's definitely a lot of amazing opportunities.
We're seeing a lot of deals trying to be sold for debt plus fees, and they still don't pencil out. They still don't make sense.
Right.
Welcome to another edition of Lifetime Cash Flow through Real Estate Investing. I'm Rod Khleif, and I'm thrilled you're here. I have a fascinating guest today that you're going to get tremendous value from, just from the brief time I've chatted with him before we started recording. His name's Alex Rudi, and he's the CEO of Interwest Capital Group, but has done some amazing things in his background. I don't know what direction to go with this conversation, because I think he can add value in all sorts of areas, but I'm very excited about this interview. Alex, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So, as I said, I don't usually do interviews this early. I'm kind of a night owl, and so this really pushed me. But when I saw your bio, and even though it wasn't even complete, we just discovered, I'm like, I've got to talk to this guy. So I got my butt up early for this.
Thank you very much.
Of course. So why don't you, give us, your background in your words, because it's very impressive.
Okay. So I go back to the beginning. I was born in Iran, and I left Iran to go to high school. I went to high school in England, and I finished that. I came to the U.S. to go to university. I went to Purdue for undergrad, and I did civil engineering. We had a construction business I was going to go back to in Iran. And from Purdue, I went to UC Berkeley for graduate studies in structural engineering. And right around those times, basically Iran had
it had some crazy stuff happening.
Crazy stuff. And so really couldn't go back, and ended up staying in San Francisco. Started as an engineer in an engineering company designing nuclear power plants.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, which was interesting. So I was there, but it was not really a career that I wanted to continue with. So I was just looking around to think of starting a business. My family had really lost all their wealth.
I see.
They had ended up being in outside of Iran.
They were able to leave?
They were, my father sent my mother and sister out, and we had a small place in France.
I see.
So they went there, and he stayed back to start to get his, assets back, but he couldn't. And ultimately, he was able to get smuggled out. Yeah. He came out, and really was a lot of stress for him. And what happened was he had a sudden heart attack, and he passed away.
Oh,
so that happened. He was relatively young. He was just 63 years old.
Wow.
My mom was much younger, and I was oldest in the family. So, I had to really get
some responsibility.
my stuff together. So I had to come up with an idea of creating a company with a recurring revenue model. And what I had targeted was commercial industrial cleaning.
Yeah.
And because that's something, it's a necessity. Everyone needs to have it.
It's ongoing.
And so forth. But I was going to do it with a twist. And the twist was, instead of hiring employees to go out and do the cleaning, we would set up people into their own business of commercial cleaning. And so we created this small franchise unit concept, and giving the opportunity to families to own a business while they wouldn't need to leave their daytime job, because this was done in the evenings.
Side hustle.
And we would, as part of their franchise, we would give them a starting customer package. And depending on how much volume that was, anywhere from $500 a month to $25,000 a month.
So you would actually source and locate
Correct.
the clients for them?
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
wow. So it's a done-for-you business almost.
That's right.
Wow, very appealing. I can
That's
see
right.
why you were so successful. I saw the success on your bio. Please elaborate.
So what this did essentially would allow people to own their business. We would take care of all the administrative work. We would
you did that as well. Wow.
All of that. We would build the customers, collect, and at the end of the month, the franchisee would get a statement with the revenue and all the deductions that would apply, and the net check. And so as long as the franchisee would keep the customer happy, that account and that income would continue. So with this system, we had a customer that all of a sudden had an owner-operator backed by a bigger operation.
And that ownership mindset as well. So you've got a much better quality of care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So in that industry, Rod, the turnover of customers is huge.
Is it?
Because, you know, a typical
people get
company,
unhappy, you didn't wipe underneath this table,
and
whatever.
then you're
Right.
out. And so typically, you know, it's close to around 50% a year turnover.
Wow.
So with our system, we were able to bring it down to around 18%. So when I was young, I would go to different cities, set up offices, regional offices for...
it said you had 68 regional offices.
Correct.
Wow.
And so we went, and it was in the, different markets.
And what year was this, or years?
This was essentially from 1985 to 1998.
Wow. Okay.
So during this period, I built the company up. Ultimately, we had about 4,500 franchise units. We had about 23,000 customers.
Wow.
And it became a very interesting platform. And in 98, I was approached by 2 private equity firms. And it was exciting because I had started the business with $8,000. And now all of a sudden, you know, we had big boys.
You sold it with a few more zeros.
Exactly. So
okay.
So I sold the company, and I was when I did that, when I was finished with that, I was relatively young. I was just 40. Didn't really know what I was going to do, so I started investing in early stage tech companies. And
where were you living at the time?
I was living in California, in San Diego.
San Diego.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Gotcha.
I moved from San Francisco down to San Diego as I was opening these offices.
Gotcha.
And I liked it, so I stayed there. And so just touching on different types of investing and companies to...
so you were trying different things at that time.
Exactly.
Exploring.
And then in 2003, I decided that, you know, I like that investing in tech companies was very volatile. We had some wins, we had, you know, a lot of losses.
Sure.
And decided to, you know, do something with real estate. It's touch and feel. It went along with my educational background.
That's how I feel too.
And so I created the company Interwest Capital. And
let me stop you for 1 second.
Yep.
You said something that really resonated with me, and you jumped by it. You said touch and feel. It's a whole lot different than, you know, tech company, which is a digital asset. You can't, you know, with real estate, you can go kick it, you can go see it, you can feel it. Yeah, I just wanted to elaborate on that because that was a big deal for me as well. That's the reason I got in. Anyway, please continue. So
it was, you know, I wanted to, again, do a little bit of a different angle, have a little different angle into it. And decided that the way to do it could be buying non-performing or underperforming debt. So through buying those, then ultimately to
end up with the real estate. Right.
And really, it was a kind of a value-oriented investing.
Sure it is.
And so put together a team. And I had a relationship with Goldman Sachs and was able to get a big line of credit and started buying these underperforming or non-performing debt.
On what sort of assets?
These were essentially, at the beginning, it was multifamily, hospitality, office, retail, industrial.
So you had
everything.
You had people analyzing every asset class. So you had I'm sure you had some smart people working with you then at that time.
So that went on from '03 to '08. And in 2008,
the world exploded.
We didn't have that line of credit anymore.
Right.
But we had a pretty good track record. We'd made, a very good returns on our investments. And so at that time, now we had bundles of opportunity, but we really didn't have the
capital
sources.
to take advantage of the
Correct.
opportunity.
And this is a very capital intensive
Sure.
business.
I remember in 2008, literally, you couldn't borrow anything. I mean, it was gone. It was like a light switch went off.
That's right. That's right. So we became a good partner for a handful of private equity firms, and we started locating these opportunities and buying the debt that we would convert to real estate. And I have some amazing stories on that as far as the type of deals that we did.
Oh God, I bet they're staggering. Because
it was crazy.
I mean, you don't know my story, but just real quick, I lost about $50 million in that debacle.
Oh my God.
And I had a portfolio that I couldn't sell for 30 cents on the dollar. And somebody ended up buying it for less than that.
There you go.
And I'm sure that's some of the stuff that you encountered.
Exactly.
Yeah. Wow.
Exactly. So what happened then? It was because of what we saw during this period, or from that beginning phase of our business, we saw what people could do that could get them into trouble. You know, how you end up with having a debt that becomes underperforming or non-performing. And so,
it was all commercial, correct?
Everything, correct.
Okay, got it.
Everything was that. And so around the same time, 2008 to 12, we really, stopped doing anything in the office, industrial, and retail, and became more just focused on multifamily and hotels.
Multifamily and hotels, interesting.
And then around 2011, 12, we just became focused on multifamily.
I see.
And so because of our beginning again period, where we would just go where the opportunity was and buy the debt of these, and that could be in different markets, we became used to really just going into covering essentially the entire U.S. And so our target markets really morphed into a number of different markets in the Smile states.
Big MSAs or
big
more?
MSAs, mostly big MSAs.
Like a Phoenix and a Tampa and a
Phoenix,
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Different markets in California, in Arizona, and all the way to Florida.
Gotcha.
So that essentially, then we also opened up to high net worth and family offices, and our business became really forming the capital on a deal by deal basis.
Right.
Now,
syndicating.
If you call it syndicate, yes, syndicate. You're bringing the capital together. Correct.
Right. Yeah.
Correct. And so what I really like about real estate, I think you probably feel the same way.
Love real estate. Yeah.
Right.
Even after losing everything, yes.
Is every acquisition has a different story. You build a different business plan for it. You have a different capital structure around it. And ultimately,
there's a lot of creativity. Basically.
That's right. A lot of creativity. It really gets you excited. I really get excited about it. And then it comes down to what you do from the point of acquisition to the point of exit.
Well, that's when the work happens.
That's correct. That's right. And what we do is we hire the best-in-class property management companies in different markets, because we are in different markets. And so, and we also do conventional multifamily, we do student housing, we do age restricted. So it's, we don't do affordable. So we hire the best-in-class property managers, and then we asset manage them.
Right. Same thing we do. Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
Perfect.
The same. I want to stop you there for a second.
Sure.
As that's a very timely statement that you just made.
Okay.
So how do you find the best-in-class property management companies? There's a reason I'm asking.
Okay.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah.
Because what happens is that, from the beginning, we started different testing or really forming relationships with different companies in different markets. But what happens, what we have found out, and I'm sure this is what you have discovered, is it really comes down to the people. It comes
down to the people at the asset.
At the asset
is what I've seen.
At the asset, but also who is the regional.
In the regional, that's right. Yeah. The support network.
That's right.
Those are the biggest pieces. And I will tell you, I've dealt with some real upset very recently with property management companies. I literally fired 2 in the last 3 months. And I ended up taking over a portfolio from an ex-partner that was just a mess. And we had 23 properties. And I discovered, and as I hired new management companies, because he was vertically integrated. It's a long story, but to nutshell I hired different management companies, large management companies in these different states. And what I discovered was it all boiled down to what we just said. It all boiled down to the person on site and who was supporting them, if they were getting support from a regional. And it could be a great management company, but if the on-site staff wasn't good, the property suffered. It could be a mediocre management company, but the on-site staff was good and they had some regional support. They excelled. Exactly. It was really fascinating.
Exactly. And you could start with, and you could have a great, experience at the property with a particular management company. For a few years,
right,
and then all of a sudden people change,
right,
and
that just happened to an asset I have in San Antonio. I've been there several times over the last couple of months, and like we've gone through 3 management companies. We're on a 3rd management company in a period of 4 months. It's a horrible situation, candidly, but there was theft and there was just no oversight. The regional lived in another city, and
that's the problem.
Yeah, and that exactly. And I teach people not to allow that. And this happened in over a period of time. But yeah, that's why I asked, because we've had a lot of ups and downs with property management companies. And in fact, I just did. I had a student event 2 weeks ago in Phoenix. So I had a couple hundred of my students there, warriors they're called, and we did a whole segment on being careful with third-party property management company as a result of this experience that we've had. Anyway, enough about that.
Exactly.
So you asset manage. I know you mentioned before we started recording, you got as high as 11,000 units and a national presence, which you can't vertically integrate when you're in a national scenario. Not effectively. Right.
No. And look, property management as a business itself, it's not really something. You have to really like to do that.
Right.
And you have to be able to.
It's a thankless position. Right. Nobody calls you when they're happy.
That's right. That's right. And you need to scale. You need to scale to really make it profitable.
Right.
So we leave that to people that are just focused on property management.
Yeah.
And there are some good folks around. And
I'm sure you've had some bad experiences as well over the years. Yeah.
We actually had bad experience in San Antonio, as you
mentioned.
It.
Oh, no kidding. Funny.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. And but you go through. You have to pull the trigger, make the change, and bite the bullet, and go through the whole thing.
It's funny. You in my example, you end up doing a lot of the work they should be doing. You're making suggestions that they should be making. You're doing analysis that they should be making, and making decisions based on for them. And that's kind of frustrating. But it's part of the business. So it's just multifamily now for you?
Yes. Well, we own one hotel.
Oh, one hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right now we had 11 hotels.
Okay.
Or 12 hotels, but we're down to 1. So we sold them along the way. And the one we're going to keep, this one is in San Francisco. It's a beautiful hotel.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And that market was fantastic.
Oh my God! What happened with the hotel market there?
Then
it crashed. I heard that they sold a hotel there for cents on the dollar, big one, if I recall. This has been a year ago or two.
Yeah,
do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like full. So there are few of them.
A few of them like that. Yeah,
that's right.
Wow.
And but the good news is that's a beautiful city, and there's so much going on there. Now with the AI coming and becoming the flavor of the day, if you would, there's so many companies that have sprung up now, and all of a sudden there's a resurgence in people going back to office, and the downtown or the
it's coming back.
It's coming back
because I know you had incredible vacancies there.
That's
I
right.
mean, like the highest in the country,
coming,
I think.
Yeah, it's coming back, and with that, retail business, restaurants,
of course,
all of
people
them are
come
coming
back. All of that comes back.
right? And the hotels.
What about the political environment there?
You know, we're very happy that there was a change in the mayor and the board of supervisors there, and so with this new regime, if you would, we feel very optimistic
about San Francisco in particular. What about California as a whole?
California as a whole, well, you know, you got issues obviously, and so that's a problem. And a
lot of controls, overregulated, overtaxed,
and not enough. If you would, not enough hardline movement against them. You know, the homeless situation, and
it's pretty bad. I had someone sitting there on that couch from L.A. and she kept saying it's so clean here, and meaning Florida, because she's used to homeless and encampments and dirty and they do a nice job here in Florida, and I think Texas as well. I was just curious what your take was, because you live there, and
Yes, you know, it's unfortunate. It's a beautiful state.
Yeah. Oh, I love visiting.
Exactly, it's a beautiful state, and but you obviously have in huge amounts of personal income tax that you pay. But you know, it's okay if you pay that, but you see the results of it.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate that in a number of the big cities there, you have this problem that is just persisting and is driving people out.
Well, people say that, that the money that goes towards that keeps it basically self-perpetuates, because the people that are facilitating those funds don't want to lose their jobs, so nothing ever improves.
Right.
So I don't know what the answer there is, but and then we won't talk about that governor of yours, but anyway. The good thing for you is you're in real estate, so you're able to mitigate some of that tax, if not all of it. I don't know if you can on the state level. I don't understand the taxation there, but that's the beautiful thing about being in real estate, is the tax benefits.
That's the beautiful thing about real estate is, you not only have the current income, but you can shield your income through depreciation, as you well know.
Right.
And
cost segregation, bonus
depreciation.
When was the last asset you purchased? Because you need to purchase to facilitate that on an ongoing basis.
Yes. So we're actually just went non-refundable on a good size asset in which is a student housing asset in Boise State.
Okay.
Beautiful location.
Yeah, that's a good city.
About 680 beds. And just walk to campus and so forth. So that one, we were also under contract on a multifamily in Milwaukee that we were in due diligence, and we have one of our assets that we've had in for the last 10 plus years is in Milwaukee, performing extremely well. So we like that market.
Got it.
But this one unfortunately failed during our DD. We saw that there was essentially, for the lack of better word, bogus revenue recorded, and they were not recording all of their expenses, just part of their expenses.
Wow, that's nefarious. Yeah, and you encounter that. How did you discover that, by the way?
It was, it was actually, we discovered that through matching
like bank statements,
to their financials, and I don't want to say they had bad intentions. I think they had a combination of
horrible
accounting, just people not paying attention, and unfortunately, it came to a point where we needed to shave off, around $3 million off of a $32 million acquisition,
and that killed it.
Yeah. And so, which is, look, my experience, you find this
best
kind of
deals are sometimes the ones you walk away from.
Right. I'm excited about the one that we're going to do, because that one
in
is
Boise. So let me ask you this on that note.
Yeah.
I have listened to a economist named Harry Dent, lives in Puerto Rico now for taxation reasons, and he's a big he studies populations.
Okay.
A lot of his advice is based on population demographics, and he talks about paying attention, especially as it relates to students, because the baby boomer students are now going away. What sort of research do you do to make sure that a school is going to have the enrollment to keep a facility like yours going? What sorts of studies do you do?
It's a good question.
Yeah.
So first of all, I mean, there's abundant data available for every university that you can check into, and also the market itself. So
Boise's a great market.
Boise's a great market. Yeah. It got overbuilt like most markets that were great.
Yeah, Austin, San Antonio,
even Boise, everywhere actually.
Right.
And so what happened was, there's people migrate into a place. You don't have enough housing units. Rents start going up. Once the rents start going up, all of a sudden developers get excited. They start now planning, building. And so
it's a cycle that's been repeated many times.
Over and over again.
Yeah.
And then what happens is, like now, the rents go flat or rents go down. People back away from development, and then things stabilize and goes back up.
Yeah.
So it's good to catch these on the way down, obviously. And Boise on the from the conventional market rates units or multifamily, they're still absorbing that. It's a high concession market. Student, they were managing through that for a period of time, and all of a sudden now is becoming tighter. And so at the university itself, what we look for is how many, how the university is growing. What is because you can always see what are the plans of the university. Some universities put a stop on admissions. Some, they have goals that they're maintaining.
I see.
And then you look for how many beds are available in the market. Okay, what versus and if the university has on-campus housing, this one in particular has very limited on-campus housing.
I see.
The freshmen are not required to stay on campus, which is different from a lot of other. So there's a fair amount of demand in there, and supply is in check. And there are different features that we look for in the asset itself that we have versus other assets. This one has abundant parking, and parking is a big must in that market. Students want to own a car. They want to go skiing. They want to go. It's a very outdoorsy kind of a place. So usually they have a car, and the comps that we have that don't have enough parking. Once they finish renting their available parking spots, their leasing velocity all of a sudden dips.
Interesting.
So, we look at all these aspects.
You dug deep. Deep. So what does your team look like? Just curious.
Okay. So we have, we have acquisition team.
Right.
That's
give me the composition of that.
Okay. So we have 5 people in acquisitions.
Okay.
And these are focused on different markets, different, geographical markets. So one would be for, Florida and Tennessee.
And that person in Florida would handle all asset classes?
No. Not all. It's only, you mean all asset classes like multifamily assets?
No, I meant other, that's right. You're just multifamily now.
You're just multifamily.
Gotcha. That's right. You said that.
So we have one acquisition person that only focuses on student housing everywhere, because that's pretty specialized.
Very niche, yeah.
And then the rest is only market rate,
geographically based
geographic.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then we have asset management team. Again, that is based on that's really based on the type of assets and the number of units that we want to have person handle.
Are those people geographically specific than the asset management people, or
they are?
Do they visit the assets as well?
Yes,
okay, so they're on the road.
That's the must. So they go. Because you can't really manage this on a on your desktop.
No way. You have to be there.
You have to be there. And every time you go there for a visit, there are things that come up that you see that there's impossible to see when you're so
exactly.
You're very, very hands-on when it comes down to that.
Yeah, yeah.
And you want to see issues before they become an issue.
Yeah, ideally. Sometimes that's not always the case, but ideally, yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Okay. And then do you have like an accounting team or
yes.
how?
Yes. So we have essentially accounting / administrative. And that, handles all of the reporting and everything that we get
to your investors
from the regions. And then it goes to our investors. So we do quarterly reports.
Quarterly
reports to all the investors. There's some of our institutional investors that want to have monthly. And so we do depending on what. But because of our, because of our genesis being, really institutionally oriented, our reporting is very thorough and, very transparent.
Gotcha.
So we go through, touch all the elements of the operation in all the reports and give everyone an overview of what to expect. Next, on the CapEx side of things, on the growth side of things, is there a refinancing coming up? Is there an exit coming up? And always give them really where their investment is standing based on from when they invested to now, as far as their IRR and their returns and so forth.
Talk about a time you had a challenge on an asset, or maybe a number of assets, or you had a property management company that ran something. Talk about. I call them seminars. I call them seminars because you learn from these times. That was a $50 million seminar for me in 08 and 09.
Okay.
It's only a failure if you don't get up and you don't get the lesson.
Well, actually, I'll take you. We're talking about some problem with a situation and an asset. So we purchased a pretty large multifamily project in San Antonio, and which is now called Paseo.
Okay.
Paseo, and it's right where what do you call the loop? Anyways, on the northwest side of San Antonio.
Yeah, that's where our assets are as well.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, so you probably
on Thousand Oaks Boulevard there, whatever, if you know the streets at all, but yeah.
So this one, beautiful asset, about 680 units, big one, or and in different buildings.
What class?
Class A.
Class A. Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
So, but we always want to do core plus.
I see.
Or value add, but let's call it B, that can become A and so forth.
Okay.
And so better quality assets, because as real estate depreciates over time.
Right.
And you want to be
well, especially right now, I think there's a flight to quality just because, people that live in the C-class assets are struggling. Inflation is killing people, and I mean, we have an asset that's struggling a little bit. Someone I was just talking about, but it was a management problem. But so anyway, yeah.
So this one, we closed on the deal. It was a good sized deal. We bought it at a very good basis, but it was $125 million transaction. And so we closed it, and then a few months later, now we are in the month of it was actually during Christmas time, maybe around December period. And you had these temperature fluctuations that happen in Texas. Okay. That I don't think
that freeze where everything froze, the water froze under the ground, so everything. I remember.
Froze.
Yeah. So that wasn't that long ago. A couple of 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
It was 3 years ago. So the what you call the water lines, they froze. And they broke
because they were only like a foot underground. Here they're 3 or 4 feet underground, or most places.
But these were sprinklers.
Oh, sprinklers.
Yeah,
oh, good
sprinkler
God.
lines.
Oh, geez. So you had a mess.
They froze and they broke, and it was a huge unexpected mess.
Right.
Where it took us. Now you had to close down on these units. There was significant damage. I mean, we acted pretty quickly.
Right.
And we went through and rolled up our sleeves and went to it and displaced the people that were impacted into other units and so forth. It was a huge job.
Wow.
And it continued for, obviously now you have to go redesign everything.
Right.
And because we had to, in most cases, just take it to the stud in each unit.
Wow.
So you can imagine the cost that incurred. We had good insurance.
You had good insurance. Oh,
and
good.
So, but I'm sure you dealt with insurance.
Oh, yeah. No, I had a place get destroyed by a tornado, only 101 units, but had to be completely rebuilt. It just brought back memories. I had back in the day, pre 2008, I had 360 houses in Charlotte County when Hurricane Charlie hit, and every one of them was damaged. Exactly. It was a logistical nightmare.
So, I tell you, I mean, climate risk is becoming a real risk.
Oh, yeah.
So then what we learned from that, I mean, we managed through it and we rebuilt this.
Yeah.
We actually built incredible units that now have become your next level, if you would.
Sure.
So we can prove
higher
that
rents,
there is another level that you can actually get rents for. So it's helped our business plan.
Sure.
But what we learned from that is that you do not, even though these things had never happened in Texas before, it's becoming more of an event.
Sure. Yeah.
And so we immediately looked at other assets we have in Texas. So if there is an asset that did not have the linings, special linings on the sprinklers, because a lot of them do not.
Right.
So right before a freeze, we drain the lines.
Oh.
We go on fire watch, and then we put the water. So there's a protocol.
You put a protocol in place as a result of what happened. No, that's really smart.
Exactly.
No, that's really smart. Well, good. Very proactive.
That's right. So those are,
So talk about, okay, sorry to immediately shift gears again, but you alluded to some incredible deals in 08 and 9, or 9 and 10 probably.
Right.
Talk about a fantastic deal that you acquired. Let's hear some great numbers.
Some great.
Yeah, because I'm sure you stole. Stole's the wrong word, but found some incredible deals.
Right. Well, and I tell you, I mean, I preface this that I really believe that today we are entering a period that
it's coming again.
It's like that. It's not going to be as intense,
right?
But it's definitely a lot of amazing opportunities.
We're seeing a lot of deals trying to be sold for debt plus fees, and they still don't pencil out. They still don't make sense. Right. So unless the rates come down, or the lenders start taking haircuts, and the catchphrase "extend and pretend" happening with lenders.
100%.
Right? Yeah,
100%.
And at some point that proverbial what's going to hit the fan, and these deals are going to have to foreclose.
That's right.
And I'm getting excited about it. Yeah, it's not quite here yet, but it's really close.
Coming. You see elements happening,
right?
And I tell you, after this story, I tell you where we're seeing opportunities.
Okay, great.
So this one was an interesting one. I think it was in 2010 or 11, and it was. And we only do deals in the U.S. This came about, and it's a long story how it came to us, but it was a big piece of debt that was owned by teachers of New York as
like a pension fund?
as a lender, and it was on a hotel in Canada, Chateau Frontenac, which is a very well-known hotel in Quebec City.
Oh wow!
And so, it basically let's call it $100 million debt that came up, and they said this is essentially it's a compromised debt. And the reason it was compromised was there was the developer or the borrower had brought in another partner, which was the biggest pension fund in Canada, as a partner into it, and without the approval, or didn't seek the approval of the lender. There was nothing wrong with the loan.
Right, but that defaulted the debt.
That became a marked loan,
right? And
so they basically wanted to unload, and it came to us in December, and they agreed to a price of 92
Okay, and it was
On
100.
It was, let's call it 100 million.
Okay, so not a huge discount.
It's a 90. Well, that's 8 cents on a pretty much $8 million on a pretty much okay loan.
Okay.
But the only caveat was they wanted this to close by end of December.
Sure they did.
And this was, let's call it December 12th that we got the deal.
Wow.
So, and this is in a foreign country.
Wow.
And so, we just said, this is too good to be true, but we don't even know how to put it together. That's a big deal. And you can't borrow against this. And so we're looking at it. We're trying different, to see how are we going to pull this through, because we knew it was going to be a good deal. And so all of a sudden we got a call from the pension fund and said, we want to pay off our loan. And, there was a prepay penalty of 5%.
Wow.
And we said, well, you have to pay us 5%. They said, no, we don't want to pay you the 5%. But so ultimately, they agreed to pay off the loan. So we timed it that we close the loan.
And then pay it off.
And then these guys pay all in the same thing without using any money.
Wow.
So
so you made the $8 million.
We got that.
Oh, well, when you said 8, that basically 8%, I've been so used to thinking discounted distressed debt, and those discounts are quite a bit more.
Oh, yeah.
But this was performing A-class paper, right?
That's right.
Wow, what a screaming deal.
So that was pretty, you can't do these kind of deals.
No, but
you can't. But what we see today, I tell you, which is very interesting.
I want to get your take on what's happening today.
So what we see today, obviously huge numbers of deals that people did with crazy underwriting. I'm sure you've seen
and
that.
adjustable rate debt.
And adjustable debt, looking at a 1970s, 1980s acquisition, thinking, okay, I'm going to put this much more money into it, get the rents up, buying it at a 4.2 cap, and then selling it at a 4.5 cap on rents that are significantly more than today's rents.
Right.
So they would buy this on floating rate debt. And all of a sudden, with the interest rates going up, you're basically underwater immediately. Exactly. And so you see tons of
these deals out there right now.
But, we don't, in our case, we don't like to touch these kind of old assets in this type of markets. So those are one class of things that you see. And amongst them, you find good assets that maybe they're 1990s or younger and so forth. But it's not, as you said, it's not as abundant as before. But the another one that you see is developers that develop the property. They have construction loans, but they did their underwriting based on rents that did not materialize, based on concessions that they didn't take into account. And all of a sudden, the cap rates have changed, interest rates have changed, and now you have a new product.
And they can't get rid of the construction debt, right?
And so they can't take that out unless they put a lot of money in. So those could be very interesting, opportunities to come in and take.
And there's a lot of those right now.
And
too.
there's exactly. We are finishing build. We only do ground up in San Diego, and we just finished a project that we built it with today's rents to over 7 cap yield on cost, which is really good.
That's fantastic,
right? And so, but because our basis on the land is low, everything that we buy and we do, Rod, has to have a story. And when we got this hold of the 3 sites that we got a hold of before a certain measure passed in San Diego, which is called Complete Communities Plan, which gave more density to certain parcels. We bought this on a pricing that was reflective of a low density site.
Oh, nice.
And all of a sudden it went up.
Right.
That's why these are good.
By the way, those of you listening, density means how many units per acre, for example, and the more density you have, the more valuable the property is, the more units you can put on a piece of property. If you didn't know what that meant, okay.
Good. So I know what it goes in building something.
Nice.
So when somebody has finished a project and they put so much work into it, which now is an unfortunate situation that things are underwater based on their underwriting, those could be great opportunities.
Fantastic deals. Yeah.
Those could be great opportunities. And these are the type of deals that, unfortunately, when you have institutional monies, they don't, they all kind of travel in a flock.
Okay.
And for, everybody on the institutional side, they have what they call value add, buckets of money. And value add means, you need to do something major to create value.
Right.
And today, to do something major to create value doesn't make sense because construction costs are higher.
Exactly.
You can't get the rents up. So these are things that you can buy with much less risk on the downside and huge potentials on the upside.
Yeah.
The institutions are not doing it because they just don't have the bucket of money for it.
Interesting.
And so this is a great opportunity for people like us
to raise money from non-institutional investors, maybe mom and pops. Yeah.
But, well, not mom and pop, sophisticated real estate investors, which like to participate in great projects with limited downside.
Yeah.
So one of the things that, again, in our case, I put a fair amount of the equity in each deal myself.
Me too.
And so similar to you. So I'm very focused on downside protection.
Sure.
And every deal that we do has to have a story. So it can't just be we were the highest bidder and blah, blah, blah. So it has to have the story. And with having a downside protection, then the upside, we take care of that as far as what is the business plan that makes sense.
Right.
And then on the financing, again, as you know, if you have the wrong capital structure, you can have a great project, but the wrong capital structure, and all of a sudden you lose.
Well, there's thousands of operators right now facing that.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. To be conservative on the debt side and on the money that you're bringing in.
Wow. Yeah, I see that opportunity right on the horizon right now. We've got an asset in San Antonio, and the one right next door, the one we have is 200 units. The one right next door is, I don't know, over 300. And it sold for $43 million in 22. Sold for $43 million. They're down to 28 now.
Oh my God.
And it doesn't even make sense for us to look at it until they get down to 24.
There you go.
Yeah, and that's what's happening. And so it's kind of exciting times.
It's exciting times.
Yeah.
And different markets are in different parts of this cycle.
Yeah. Well, it's true. It's geographically specific for sure.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. And we also learned the lesson, when you look at C, class type of multifamily, there's a lot of problems.
Oh yeah, no, that's where the problems are because they can't afford the rent. They living paycheck to paycheck. One little blip and they're in trouble. They're in default.
That's right.
And yeah, it's a real problem. So I won't even look at a C asset right now. That used to be my bread and butter back in the day, but not anymore. No,
not anymore.
No, it's too dangerous. Well, I am very impressed with what you've accomplished, Alex. It's very inspiring to, from your Coverall business with 4,500 franchise units and 68 regional offices to 11,000 units. And so what's next? You're gearing up to take advantage of these opportunities?
Yes, so that's really the focus that we have now.
Yeah.
We like to take the next 2 years or 3 years that is in front and take this opportunity to build our portfolio back up with fantastic assets in great markets, and do this with wonderful partners. So that's really our goal.
Nice. Well, listen, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me. I'm really glad that we did this. It's really been a lot of fun for me, and I look forward to seeing what you accomplish over the next couple of years, because I think some very incredible opportunity upon us. And I keep telling people this, if there was ever a time to, explore this business, it's right now, because it's, you want to be a contrarian.
That's right.
That's, when the supposed blood is running in the streets is when you want to be investing, right?
Exactly.
There's that famous quote by
Well, a lot of people have said that.
Well, yeah, they have. There's a famous quote by Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett,
yeah, about being afraid when other people are
when the blood is in
excited
the
and being
street.
excited when they're afraid.
That's right.
Right.
That's absolutely right.
But well, listen, Alex, it was a pleasure to meet you, my friend.
Thank you, and thank you for getting up and doing this early in the morning.
Get my lazy ass up early in the morning.
I appreciate it.
It was definitely worth it. All right, thanks.
Thank you.